Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there.
Hello there, guys. And, we're going to be a little cryptic a little bit more because it's really necessary. We've gotten the message from the galactics to be very, very careful and very, very, well, put the puzzle pieces out there, so to speak.
Yeah, just watch our vocabulary words. Certain vocabulary words trigger the A.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, so do you guys know these guys? I love these guys. I love the one song because it was just so incredibly cheesy.
It was a really good song. I can't get it out of my mind now.
And this is going to be one of the things that we should keep our eyes on.
Yeah.
Yes. And so this group is a flock of seagulls. And their hit was I Ran So Far Away.
Yay, I ran so far away. Got it.
So every time we say a flock of seagulls, what we're going to really be meaning is the next two words.
Song. We're going to mean this song, I ran so far away.
Yes, exactly. So we see this tweet from El Presidente. Our embassy in Baghdad got hit on Sunday by several rockets. These rockets failed to launch. Guess where they came from?
A flock of seagulls.
They did. So now we hear chatter of additional attacks against Amerigo Vespucci. You know Amerigo Vespucci, right?
I know. This just isn't nice what they're doing.
So, yeah, Amerigo Vespucci's the guy that discovered the Americas. Yeah, back in 15-something when there was still, already maybe 60 to 100 million natives on the American continents. But he discovered them.
Minor details.
Revisionist history. There we go again. So when we go down a little bit, too, we see some friendly advice, some friendly health advice to a flock of seagulls. If one Amerigo Vespucci is hurt, or worse, he's going to hold a flock of seagulls responsible. Think it over.
That's some pretty heavy talk.
Well, I think these guys are quaking in their boots right now.
I bet you they are.
Or maybe they soiled their depends.
I'm just worried about the seagulls at this point.
Yes, yes. Meanwhile, we see here, Amerigo Vespucci is preparing a massive strike on the flock of seagulls' interests in retaliation to the barrage of 21 rockets firing at the embassy, as we see. So, something seems to be in the works, and we had talked about fleet movement as well, and the curious disappearing fleets, as we had 4. We had 2 on each coast, and now 3 of them, they've gone somewhere, and we asked the guides, where'd they go? And the guides simply said,
they are ready to pounce.
Ready to pounce is the word that they gave us. Meanwhile, we see there are 2 already in pouncing range of the flock of seagulls area.
Yeah, they don't want to advertise to anyone or anything where they're at.
We had talked about the chaos that is to come. The guides have been very, very, very concerned about what's to come and what's being planned. We've also got that El Presidente, and again, obviously, we're trying to scramble things for the intelligence that is artificial, so to speak, to keep being able to do what we're doing. So we had gotten from them that El Presidente is basically, there's only so much he could do. There's only, there's a lot of forces. I mean, put it this way, it's almost like, it's a massive chess game underway. And it's like a chess game when there's like loaded guns like pointed to your head, so to speak.
Well, yeah, there's decisions to be made, and we've all met these situations where we do have to choose what we feel is lesser of any given evil toward our family and taking care of our family.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different factions out there. There's so much more that we don't understand as far as treaties and alliances and, even agreements. Just think about, go back to the hostage crisis in a flock of seagulls that happened way back in the 70s that helped push Jimmy Carter out. You know, how he didn't get reelected. A lot of it could have been because of the handling of that crisis. Well, you know, there could be things like that going on a galactic level, you know, and there could be deals made. Okay, well, you know, we're going to release 500 million prisoners from Aldebaran in exchange for, you know, 275 million from Vega. You know, we don't know those type of things that go on behind the scenes.
No, we don't, and we don't necessarily understand them, nor are we really supposed to understand everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much bigger than what we realize. You know, I mean, we're always focused on what's happening on this tiny little blue dot, but there's much more out there than just that. This is something else we got last night. So, you know, we're talking about enhancements. And do you know when you have guests come over and you go and you're not going to use the same old dinner plates for the guests. You go for the fine china. You know, you got to put out the really good stuff. So you grab the fine china and you put it out. Well, you know, we got last night as well that there are some of these universal soldier types here in the country from the Good Dinnerware location, if you know what I mean. This was an interesting movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, almost human, almost perfect, almost under control, Universal Soldier, and then there was sequels after that. Interesting. You know, very, very interesting. So the word is that there's hundreds of these enhanced, hooked into intelligence that is artificially flavored.
Right, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, hundreds here already. And it is concerning. And even the Galactics are very concerned about that. And they gave us numbers in between the tens up to hundreds of thousands that are otherwise here, already here, infiltrated, and just waiting.
Yeah, you know, and it's just waiting for the next shoe to drop, waiting for the right signal.
Yes, yes, yes. And meanwhile, President Trump vetoed the colossal $740 billion defense bill, breaking with the Republican-led Senate. So this is the National Defense Authorization Act. Typically passes with strong bipartisan support and veto-proof majorities. So Congress is going to have to vote to override the president, and we will see what happens with that. He said that was sympathetic to that country that has the fine dinnerware. And you know, Rus as well, R-U-S, if you guys know what I mean there, obviously. And here we see Mr. Joe B. says the huge cyber hit cannot go unanswered. And is it me, or does his eyes get blacker every day?
You know, they do look like a couple of lumps of charcoal in there.
Yep. So he said the perpetrators of that massive cyber hit on the U.S. government, unofficially blamed on Rus, must face consequences. We cannot let this go unanswered. This takes me back to 2016. You know, small mountains sometimes are called hills. And so, you know, there is a woman's name that is very reminiscent of hills. And was running in 2016, and I felt sure the feeling was coming over me, and the guides were saying to me, if the hilly one wins, WW3 is right around the corner. Kind of getting that same feeling.
Yes, many people got that feeling then and are getting the feeling now, too.
And we're seeing more and more people living in tents. The tent cities are growing. The divide is growing as more and more people are losing their small businesses. More and more people are losing their jobs. More and more people not only can't pay their bills, but they can't even buy food for their family.
Right, the divide is just getting wider and bigger.
It is so, it's so sad what's going on. And there's been a lot of booms going on. We talked about a train derailment and explosion that would happen to be loaded with petroleum. And then we had a truck that was loaded with propane that just kind of flipped and went off the road and just boom, exploded. And here we got 9 critically injured, at least 21 people sent to the hospital in Baltimore. And this is at the Baltimore Gas and Electric Building. They say natural gas was not involved. I wonder if it's any of those universal type soldiers that had anything to do with this.
Well, it does feel like it's something that has to do with the tit for tat.
Recognize too, if you did have sleepers situated inside a place that you wanted to soften up, you would start with infrastructure, you would start with natural resources, you would start by maybe, hitting certain bridges, overpasses, the rail system, the power structure for sure, the food supply. There's so many different targets. It feels curious to me. We had some of these happen before.
Yeah, I know. And here we go again. It's just how many in like the last 24 hours? That's insane.
And while the shelves in the UK are starting to get more and more bare, and people are getting more and more angry, frustrated, and depressed, you have here Lufthansa airlifting food to the UK, thankfully. It's just a mess. It's a mess. The roads are backlogged with vehicles that want to get in, can't get in, they're blocked off. And there's truck drivers, trying to deliver goods that people desperately need. There's people fighting, out there. And you got to say, how could the leadership of this planet doesn't feel very humane?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even feel human.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't seem to have a heart.
No, it doesn't.
You could even say it feels pretty damn cold-blooded.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Very, very... I was going to use the R word. Snake-like? Well, I don't know. Our snakes are nicer than what we see coming out of the leadership. And meanwhile, there are a lot of volcanoes spewing, as this says from Strange Sounds. What's up with all the volcanoes going around the world? Is the big one coming, and it's just touching on some of them. We see Etna still rolling, and Shevluch in Russia keeps spewing ash up as well. This is in Kamchatka Peninsula. Kilauea is still ongoing. Sakurajima keeps going as well. Suwanosejima in Japan as well, and this is in a very active phase. You see over here, you have 2 fissures going in Kilauea. And what's next? Well, we see increased activity, seismic activity under the Hudson volcano, and this is in Chile. And this one did erupt before in the 20th century, and it was the largest eruption in Chile in the 20th century. And this could go as high as a VEI 6. And it has in the past, which, again, that's big enough to start really contributing to global cooling.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. Things are changing drastically.
The other thing we have is major sudden stratospheric warming, which happens in the upper atmosphere. What does it do? Well, it ends up giving us a crazy, unpredictable jet stream. And so you could see wild swings. And, you could have half of the country having record warmth and the other half seeing abnormally frigid conditions. So, the extremes, they're going to keep continuing.
That's almost hard to fathom.
And this is disgusting. And, the way he's just standing there, that's me back in, 2016, 2017 in Florida, feeling so depressed that, it's just... Those beautiful beaches are just so horrible, with the stench. I was living half a mile from the beach, and my sinuses were burning constantly from the red tide. But this is talking about oil drilling 150 miles off of Florida's coast, and it prompts dire warning from members of Congress. And, it's just sad, especially when you think about this. There's the potential for severe, even catastrophic impact if a spill occurred. Not that it seems like anybody in charge really cares about that, because all that ever happens is more fracking. Like today, there was a quake that happened in New Mexico. I don't see where that opened up here.
Way up to the right, I
Oh, there it is. It's
Yeah.
starting to come. There was a quake that happened in New Mexico, and it was fracking wells right there. And Dutch has done, he's covered this for forever, talking about it. And so, as you guys know, we've been spending a lot of time going back and forth between Colorado and Arizona mostly. But when you go through this area here, it's just loaded with fracking wells. Everywhere you look, it's just fracking, fracking, fracking. And this quake is because of that. And this is actually, it was a 3.3, so it's pretty decent size. And it's just I don't think there's any common sense here. It's not what is going to be good for the planet long term, especially when it comes out that we've had the technology for decades, that we don't need to have really gas cars. We don't need to use gas and oil at all.
Yeah, I know, and that's something that is going to be coming out. Now, we might not have the technology for quite some time, but as far as us finding out what's out there, that's very close.
Yeah, that's going to be revealed pretty soon. And all the quakes that we see all the time in Oklahoma, well, that's definitely related to fracking as well. And even if they're not fracking now, they've done the damage. That's the thing. They've done the damage because they've pulled all the oil out. And, some equate the oil to the lifeblood of the earth itself. It's like putting leeches, like the old medieval medicine, which gets you thinking, these beings that are running this planet, they're not very humane. They don't even feel really human. They feel very, very cold-blooded, if you're getting what we're intimating out here. They treat the earth like a resource to be used up and then discarded. So if we really were living on a flat earth, a flat planet, and we're the only life there is anywhere out there besides angels and demons, then they would have to be very, very suicidal. And even worse, because they would show that they don't care about their kids, grandkids, any future generations. Now, if on the other hand, Earth is just one planet amongst countless planets, of which perhaps even these powers that be control many, 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 and they are looking at it as just a simple resource to be used up and discarded whenever, it has served its purpose and is no longer useful. Well, that would kind of make sense then, wouldn't it? Even if perhaps some of the top echelon were promised, oh, well, you'll get your pick. Do you want to go somewhere around Aldebaran? There's some nice planets over there. We could settle you on. Or maybe, around somewhere else, Alpha Draconis, for instance.
Right. So the consequences are different for those that are higher up.
Yeah. And perhaps some of those have been told that, when the solar flash comes, we'll take you away with us. Don't worry, you and your families will be safe, while the masses bear the impact.
Right. So it's just a really kind of a very naughty, not nice control system we have.
Very, very much so. So, guys, we want to thank you for your support. Thank you for your figuring out our cryptic messages. As we have to dodge the artificially flavored intelligences around us.
Yes.
And thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell as always. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.